Yeah, this is the rendering of the thematic pavilion. We're designing it for this expo, and this is meant to be made out of voxels. Voxel is the volume cell, which is the equivalent to the pixel, but pixel is for 2D and a voxel is 3D.
I'll have a quick introduction, then we will just start. Yeah, so we are really happy to have Toyoda San, my former boss in Japan, to share with us about some the new project in Osaka next year, the exhibition, right? The huge exhibition in Japan. And actually, Noiz Architects designed with another artist a new pavilion for this exhibition. So we will ask some questions for Toyoda San, and he also can share a little bit about himself and the companies and the progress of this project. So that's welcome. First question of all is, since some of the audiences didn't know Noiz Architects before, so can I ask Toyoda San to quick introduce about the company and also yourself and how you come through all these projects recent years?
Well, thank you for introduction and having me here. And yeah, I'm Keisuke Toyoda, architect based in Tokyo and also Taipei. Our practice range based in those two countries, but spread everywhere on the planet. I'm also teaching at the University of Tokyo, so it's kind of dual profession, the professor and the architect. And the Noiz Architect, which Fred has been helping in Tokyo for a while. It's the architecture design office, which range from the architecture, interior, product design, exhibition design. Recently just opened the Kusama Yayoi exhibition in Monchu, Taipei. We did the exhibition design there too. We have quite a few projects in Taiwan and also Tokyo, and then the ongoing, currently the biggest ongoing project for us is the thematic pavilion in Osaka Expo 2025 next year, which start in April and last for 6 months in Osaka. And I was the venue design director for the bidding process, and now it's passed on to the Fujimoto, but we still continue to design the thematic pavilion, and we're designing the spatial overlay platform, which is called Common Ground. That's part of it. And also we are scanning the whole venue and then providing the open 3D data for public. We can talk about it, but we're expecting that the new way of attending Osaka Expo as a new generation of experience, public experience. So that's pretty much what we're doing at this moment.
Great. I've seen some news for this ongoing project. And can you also share a little bit about some key milestones from the how you get all these projects? Because maybe have some bidding process and then finally to the construction part. And since last year I was in Tokyo, I saw some of the modeling, like a physical small modeling, and there must be a lot of progress till now. So can you describe a little bit about how this project is developed through times?
This is our office, Noiz Architect, and we do quite a few, but this is the thematic pavilion of Osaka Kansai Expo. Yeah, this is the rendering of the thematic pavilion. We're designing it for this expo, and this is meant to be made out of voxels. Voxel is the volume cell, which is the equivalent to the pixel, but pixel is for 2D and a voxel is 3D. And this is designed by the unit of 1 meter cube, 2 meter cube, 4 meter cube, 8 meter cube, 60 meter cube, etc. So it's going to be endless. It's kind of like Minecraft in a physical space, So it's something kind of recomposable, and it's easy to kind of regenerate in the virtual space, so that we're expecting to have this thematic pavilion in millions of different versions in the virtual space, whoever interested in this design, and then they could recompose our pavilion. They can compete with our design, and then you can show an augmented reality in the site and see what's the difference and stuff. And also interesting part is that we have developed a completely new material, which is shown here as a mock-up. This is the elastic Miller film. It's 98% of the reflection rate, but it's soft and elastic so that you can compose the pure, tension surfaces. So this is the mock-up, but this is now built up at the site. So we can have some kind of spatial distortion through the digital and the physical and the kind of collaboration with the augmented reality and an XR type of experience, but also the physical space, the building itself, would be the kind of agent to generate the distortion and connection between a virtual space and physical space. And we put the huge speaker behind the skin. And again,
Wow.
this skin is soft, so it shakes or moves as based on the wavelengths of the woofer. So it's a kinetic building, soft building. It constantly changes the surface, and it could be stabilized if the sound is stabilized, but it could change in a different condition, different kind of wavelengths. And it's kind of different from a robotic kind of kinetics. So it's a new experiment and new kind of presence of the architecture. So that's the challenge of this building.
Nice. Well, since last year I saw the video of this project, and there are like a waving kind of feeling, and now to see in this reality that the material just shake itself is really amazing to see that. So now the mock-up being done, and then people trying to assemble every parts into it, right?
Yeah, it's under construction actually next week. I mean, we're gonna have the final confirmation of the building. It's not done yet, but it's pretty close to the final condition now.
Nice. Since some audience also do not know about the new ideas, so can Toyoda-san share with us more about this idea, and also how it interprets the theme like forging lives? Is there some connection between these ideas and the conceptual ideas?
Sorry, which idea?
Because there are some like a theme called Forging Lives on the website about this project. So and also the Nuo idea. So can you elaborate about these two ideas? How you come up with this design concept, and why it's a voxel idea?
Oh, okay. This building is about, the entire expo is about the how to collaborate and cope with the new generation of life. I mean, it could be a multiple meaning. And this is the one of the thematic pavilion. And actually in this expo, it's unique. There is 8 thematic pavilion, which, share the different aspect of life. And in this pavilion, if you go inside, they're gonna scan yourself, and then they're gonna regenerate yourself in a virtual artificial intelligence kind of approach. So it's your copy, but it has its own kind of way of, acting or communicating. And if you go inside, I can't show the details yet, but you're gonna face yourself. You're gonna face other kind of being in a way. So it's about the Miller world. It could be parallel, but it's different. So the pavilion itself is representing the idea of mirroring the world. And then, but it's not just a conceptual, but it's not just a virtual, but physical presence represent the strong sense of otherness. And so that's kind of continuing outside and inside. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay. I think some of my architectural friends, they are looking forward to this huge expo too. So thanks for sharing. And I think if any chance we can go, we're definitely going to experience a new space perceptions in this pavilion. Okay, so since I know Toyota-san also did some research, a lot research about the virtual world and the real physical world. Like you have this idea of CGPF, like this kind of parallel ground that can link the virtual world and the physical world. So how do you expect the future of people to experience this new generation, not only in architectural way, but also in the digital AI, new ideas of digital world?
Okay, let me share the screen again then. That goes for my research topic at the university, mainly. You see the screen, right?
Yeah.
We call it a common ground. Basically, it's an extension of just a simple digital description of the physical space. It's kind of continuous from our project in Expo and also the NOIZ architecture office practice that goes to the university research. Common ground is basically how to dynamically describe, capture, perceive the physical space in the common fashion of the digital language and share among humans and non-human. Non-human is difficult to kind of explain, but this is the diagram that I normally use. There's the quadrant diagram, physical and digital or virtual, or agent against the environment, like a point and a box. And we've been living into the physical space, like a physical agent as human, object, and animal, and also the architectural city or nature as the physical environment. This is pretty much the whole world up to 20th century. We've been living in this space. But we start having this up bottom right corner, the digital agent. We call it non-human agent. But it could be physical, it could be virtual, it could be AI autonomous, it could be avatar, which is remote control, but there's different type of in a nutshell that the digital agent are coming into our daily life. But digital agent in general is really having a hard time to describe and capture the physical environment. So we put the digital environment, which could be digital twin, to assist them to understand the space, but they understand the digital environment. But we prepare the digital environment to match with the physical environment so that they can communicate with that through these digital twins. But the digital twin could be in a diverse fashion of a description, systems. So it's not compatible at this moment. So the basic idea is, why don't we prepare the common ground, which is cognitive or edible for any type of the digital agent to access, understand, and interact with the physical spaces. That's the basic concept of a common ground, but it's not that easy. But if the common ground is there, digital agents could be much cheaper and easier to implement. And they can communicate much easier through the physical space, like through the rooms, through the buildings, through the city. They themselves doesn't need to be that smart, which means that they don't need to be too expensive. That means every single kind of digital agent could be more affordable within their hand. So it's important to have the cognitive space for a non-human agent to design the future space and the future city and the future architecture. That's the main idea of a common ground. So it's too much of a story, but basically we as a human, we have the head-mount display, that the virtual reality type of thing, but it's based on the enhancement of the agent. But if we can introduce environmental view or environmental body of the digital description, environmental sensing and environmental actuation, that's going to help the virtual agent, that's going to help the remote agent, that's going to help the physical agent in a flat and an equal condition. And then that's going to be the first ever circumstance for everyone. Everyone means humans and non-human agent, to act equally in the space. They're going to enhance our opportunity. That's the basic approach that we're going for university research. So it's still communication between virtual space, the digital space, and the physical space. It's the bottom line is the same, and we call it common ground. And yes, what Fred mentioned, a CGPF and common ground platform, is something that we are technically and systematically developing at the university laboratory with the government funding, and now trying to make it into the privatized company to implement into the society at this moment.
Great. Since I've been talked with one of my PhD professors, actually this kind of wow, this is like a
This is like a two years ago experiment, quite old one, so it's kind of like very low resolution and then low accuracy. But this is the basic idea of the how the space recognize the movement of the human body and the human location and then mutual locations, so that the person with the avatar is the aware the people who is in this space, and just the avatar is the guy who is from Osaka. So it's a spatial overlay between Osaka and Tokyo and mutually recognizable from each other. And this is important because it's not just a 1-to-1, but the 5-to-5, 10-to-10, 20-to-20, so that the entire classroom could be overlaid between, let's say, Helsinki, Taipei, Tokyo, so that they can have the same class, same workshop, mutually communicable. Next door, the somebody who right next to you is gonna perform and then sense and then communicate as it's close to you, and there's somebody far away appears to be far away. The location, direction, distance is very important information, package of information to communicate. This is the example of the what we did for the university and the government between Nagano and Tokyo, and high school students doing the experimental classes for art class. And they have to the spatial overlay, and they have to do the workshop, which is quite successful, even though the image might be kind of shaggy. This is the way to do the sensor fusion. Multiple sensor has to fuse the motion captured in the different locations, and they have to judge which is the best information, and the dead angle and then kind of hidden angles, and then it has to be optimized constantly and broadcasted and shared mutually. That's basically the CGPF currently we're developing.
wow. Thanks for sharing some of the example videos that if in the future learning environments become more like more than 3D dimension, this kind of remote learning together. And I think that would be a huge progress for new kind of learning ways. Yeah. And since this era, the AI and also 5G, so I think the idea might be more approachable than before. So all the technologies are developed till this stage. So I believe in the future we might see more in Japan and maybe in Taiwan. Yeah. So some of these research institutes might implement this kind of new technology soon, right? Yeah. Okay, so since been developing with this kind of idea, and we are all based on architecture background, so I believe Toyoda-san might facing a lot of different fields professionals. What do you think are the difficulties communicating to different fields professionals in your this kind of huge a larger concept of this common ground idea? Yeah, I think please can share with us some of your experience.
Yeah, in general, it's still difficult. Apparently that we have to just small. We run the small office as an architect, and I started having a laboratory at the university only 4 years ago. Up to then, that I was just running the small office, even though I was the, let's say, director of the venue design for Expo bidding process and etc. That's some influential position to drive some big scope, but definitely not enough. So the idea is there, and many people agree this, let's say, idea of a common ground has the very good potential for future of the social platform and the new industry to emerge out of it. But my position doesn't match with the magnitude of involving different layer and field of corporate and government, etc. So it is tough. It's lucky that we got the expo, and that's definitely the first boost that common ground could be something achieved through the expo. That could be one feature of the future life. That could be, legendary kind of experience through the expo. But that's not enough. So we need to get into the further into the understanding each layer of the industry and their, the current issues, what the future kind of, expectation, but their internal problem at this moment. We have to get involved in each one of those and form the kind of association, corporate association, which is called Common Ground Living Lab, based in Osaka. We have the physical space of the laboratory and office, and that's the kind of name of the corporate association too. And that's the one side of our activity of developing and then implementing a common ground idea. And then now I got the Tokyo University Laboratory that helps a lot to kind of authorizing what we're doing and also acquiring the government funding or corporate money to actually start pushing the technical development. And now it's kind of reaching to a certain stage. So we are trying to establish the new corporate company to run this business, to get the funding, investment, and make it into the real, industry, platform industry for next generation. So it's totally out of the size of what one person can do. So it's not that easy, but I'm still struggling.
Nice. In Taiwan, we've also heard some people doing this kind of like digital and physical interaction public art designs. But I think since you mentioned it's actually a multi-industry collaboration. So if you do not have this kind of like a higher scope, people, I think, will only stay in this kind of individual public art projects. So I really think if this kind of cross-domain field connection can be established in the future, that might fasten this kind of movement. I'm not sure it's only art or also manufacturing industry. And yeah, since like NVIDIA, they are talking about this kind of multiverse and digital twin stuff for many, many years. But I believe there are still a long way to go. And I also can share a little bit of my experience since I know several universities in Taiwan. They're trying to create this kind of also digital twin for their university and trying to manage the energy consumption for the buildings, for the events, in order to have a more sustainable future, student like school life future. So student will be more aware since they are in the university in students' life. So in the future, when they go to the industry, they might implement this kind of sensor-oriented or like energy control-oriented idea into their future careers. So I think that's Taiwan government trying to implement in this field, like from school. Yeah, so actually you can also see some fundings coming out recently. Yep. Okay. Another quick question is, so after sharing about this idea and also the information about the pavilion, so after the expo, what potential applications or like potential impacts do you see for these new perception of spaces or this kind of new ideas in the expos? What do you think this potential of this expo? Yeah.
Right. I mean, my personal point of view that now, I have to say again that I am fundamentally design architect. So we're expecting that we can improve the job opportunity to design more buildings. Now that we've been talking about the common ground and then virtual space and then social foundation and stuff, many people in Japan think that I'm not the design architect, but they're more like a social innovator and stuff. But we are expecting that we can have more the design opportunities. That's also for the aesthetic, but we need the venue to be ready as a network to implement such a concept like a common ground. So it's kind of like a both side of a wheel. We want to be involved in the kind of fundamentally next generation designs of buildings and urban planning so that these kind of infrastructure is naturally part of it. It's not just the aesthetic, but the technical, social, political, everything combined. Architects needs to be involved in every layer. It can't be just purely about the proportion and then that kind of stuff. And then apparently we might need to go into the business sector. The common ground idea is not that easy because it's a platform, and platform requires a lot of venues and the physical platform. And we provide the digital platform. And digital platform itself requires a bunch of sensors and a bunch of transmitting technology, and then also the experimental technology and robotics too. So we need a lot of collaboration between industries. And then we need the IP and contents providers, and like music and movie and game and etc. etc. Everything combines to create a new network of the ecosystem. So that's why it's very fruitful as an industry, but it's really hard to build at one step. So yeah, the implementation of a business might be the next step, but we need to prepare to build up the foundation one by one by designing venues and buildings.
Okay, so my personal question is like with this huge scope, what do you think about the current office, like NOIZ office? Is it gonna to what is any like change for your thinking for the office, or what's your future plan? Like maybe since Taiwan and Tokyo we have both offices, what do you think about this team management, or like this talented new intellectuals joining this team? How do you expect the future to grow this team of yours? Yeah.
In terms of the size and then the role of the NOIZ, I believe and I want them to stay as much what it is now. That it's not like design office is better to stay small and kind of creative without being big body and then like becoming more conservative and then to sustain yourself. So the design office could stay small and then more collaborative with the other external parties like the big corporate and the big tech office and stuff. So we could be a small and then pungent brain without having a big body of the dinosaur. But whereas, again, I mentioned that we are preparing to start a new venture office, tech office, that is supposed to be pro, growth. It's supposed to get the more funding and then more investment, and then that gonna becomes the hopefully that it's mean to be a big platform. So our collaborator is gonna be the big companies like what you mentioned earlier, and they can't be just stay in Japan, so they have to be global. So small and big, I think that I need boss.
Wow, cool to hear that. Yeah, so also we'll need more like a computational, like more talented people from IT industry, right? To collaborate with designers at the original offices. Yeah, what do you think in the future? Like, should architect students get into more of computational skills, or what do you expect or some advice for like future architecture department students?
For architecture students, yes, for sure that they should be more equipped with the other profession, other specialty, especially like computational skills and any kind of specialty related to it. That for instance, whenever I go to US, let's say MIT and then Carnegie Mellon and Stanford, many students, actually majority of our architecture students, not majority, but quite a big portion of our architecture students are doing a double major, triple major. And the architecture student in undergrad, they are very fluent and able to discuss about quite a deep topic about let's say, human brain interface, data science, and then that's very common in the States in a way, becoming. So that's going to be the foundation to make the pre-existing industrial value to be extended into the other field. Let's say architecture, for instance, is the very enclosed and traditional and conventional field of industry. It cannot sustain to stay within and revalue themselves. It's going to die. But the architecture can change the language and the vocab and the kind of way of communication to match with, let's say, AI, edible architectural information for AI, edible architecture information for autonomous driving. That's actually not existing. But with that, architecture as an industry could double or triple the value, not just the physical entity that they already occupied. So to make that kind of bridging with the different industry, that we need definitely more and more students or the professions to be out to bridge between different industry. That's definitely for sure. But on the other hand, as an educator at the university, the more the students go outside of the architecture, actually the core of the architecture becomes even more important. So you need to be able to talk about the very, very core foundation of the value of an architecture. What's the design value? What's the kind of physical value? What's the traditional and conventional value of an architecture? More specifically and fluently to outsider. Especially because now that I'm working with the digital kind of environment and technology kind of field, now I feel that the value of an architecture is reassembled and rearranged in a way, because we can disperse the values and information in a more diverse layers of communication. Or we used to have only the voice as the transmittable kind of entity, but now we have the images and then the video and then volumetric, and then there's so many entities that we can digitally transmittable, and you can edit and combine as the breakthrough, big breakthrough. But the more it goes like that, yourself, your appearance in the virtual space could be different. You could be the pretty girl, you could be dinosaur. Yourself, what you are, diverse, based on the devices and then the entities that it goes to. That gonna dilute what you are and where you are and what you belongs to, and that gonna soon becomes a big problem. It might be already, and then I start feeling that the true value of the architecture or the place or city or town or country, which is physical, is to bind and unite all the information in one place, in one body. That's not gonna, confused or troubled. Your body never get bugged. It's gonna be there, no matter how. Your hometown is gonna be there. Your loved architecture never got confused. That the physical value of combining all the countless information is gonna be priceless value than now. So the core value of an architecture is something that they should reevaluate as an architecture student.
Oh, great sharing. Like your physical body become an anchor for a lot of information and also perceptions in the future that
Right.
people trying to get all the information, but eventually we have to go to see what's the most important thing for architecture education and also how people perceive informations. I think that's quite important in the future eras. Yeah. So, okay, today I think we discussed a lot of different ideas from the construction of the new buildings and to the concept of the common ground. So I feel really happy to interview Toyoda-san again. And I think in the future, if you have any new ideas, please feel free to share with Taiwanese audiences and different audiences in the world. Yeah, and I think nowadays, since now I'm in Taipei and you're in Tokyo, so this kind of physical boundary become less and less. So I hope if whenever you come, we can also meet again. Yeah. And also the last question about the expo building. I heard that in the future when the expo is ended, is this all the membranes and all the structures can be reassembled in another places? So this kind of sustainable ideas, can you elaborate more about this project? So as the last question.
You mean our expo building?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not mean to be, because it's entire mirror. That's the kind of homage for the being a mirror world and the physical and the virtual and then reflection distortion of the physical space. But based on that, the Miller, the 98% of reflective quality reflect all the sun heat. So inside the building is amazingly cooler than the normal building because the heat can be all reflected. So we expecting that it could be applicable for actual built environment in the city and stuff. It has amazing reflection kind of quality too. And this is apparently a temporal building. So the inside is actually all rental boxes. So the skin is something added on top. So it's very temporal, and it's able to be dismantled and recomposed in a different kind of shape. And that could be transplanted, and it could be elaborated into different size and scale and different function and applied to the different location. So this is pretty much designed for that. The building is just placed on the ground and easy to assemble, and it's easy to disassemble. I'm hoping that it could be rebuilt in somewhere in Taiwan.
Sure. Looking forward to it. Okay, so thank you again. Thank you for your time and all the sharings. And wish we can meet each other soon in the near future. Yep. So today, so Happy New Year though. Yeah.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Okay, so thank you again. Yeah. See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.